Good morning. Well, don't seem to be going anywhere too quickly here. We continue to be in this this chop with the big, gigantic round number of 3,000 lurking above there. Seemed that after yesterday's initial move, things went dead again. Yes, charts. We have to have charts. And there we go. Thank you. They're pretty boring charts to a degree, looking at the higher time frames. You know, the weekly time frame, we've gone nowhere. Maybe we get somewhere by the end of this week. It's starting to look like maybe it can go to the upside, but it looked like it was going to go to the upside before. It looked like it was going to go to the downside. And here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going on 6 weeks here, chopping sideways. So I guess it's just a consolidation. Which way it's going to break, we'll just have to wait to see. Anyway, the price action here compared to the past times prices were up here is encouraging anyway for a move to the upside. And what I'm talking about is just looking at this little area right there where prices had broken down under some support, and then the bottoming tail bar at the bottom of the range. So the bottoming tail bar, kind of like a range expansion bar. You could see the one here was just a relatively narrow reversal. That was a narrow reversal. And this one, the range got big. And so this is where right up here is where our internals gave us the sell signals. And down it went pretty hard. And when the range expanded and prices came down to this lower support level, and they sprung back up again. And well, now we're to the top of the range. So let's just get rid of some of this. So what's encouraging about this is once it got to the top of the range with a wide range bar, so far it's staying in the upper half of that wide range bar. And well, it's very real, Dan. What do you mean it's not real? It's a futures chart, so it's 24 hours. It's real on this. If I was looking at the spiders, then we know that that had a bad tick in it. But anyway, it looks different than if we're looking at SPX. So this consolidation here at resistance, going sideways like that is bullish price action. Now, at some point, that bullish price action, which is being created by strong demand staying up there, it has to break out, and it has to get through that 3,000 and that 200 MA. And so 100 points is pretty big move if it can get up there, which will be in alignment with this high. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it's today the day. I don't know. What's going on here this morning. Last night they pulled back a little bit, and now they're coming back up. And so we've got, you can see the trading range that's going on here. So chop until we see that it actually can break out of this area. The strength just continues to be in the technology stocks. And some of them were showing some weakness. The leaders, then they kind of, as the market refused to go down, for example, I know NVIDIA was trying to roll over. I shorted it and started to go down and popped right back up again. I saw Netflix was weak. So some money rotating out of the winners, not that it's evident in a glaring sense on the daily chart, but however, intraday they were showing some weakness. And then, buyers stepped up again when markets weren't rolling over. So we've got this wider bar. It's cleared resistance, so which should now be support. And so far, that little bottoming tail that occurred there, you could see it right there. Buyers stepped up in that area right here. And now they're pushing it back up. And so there's really little or nothing to stop it from getting up to that prior high. There is this unfilled gap right there. Let's see, it's kind of like right there. That's the close. So it's right there as we speak. So we'll see whether we can really get up to the prior high or not. You can't fight the trend. I mean, they keep buying the pullbacks. They made a new high. Now we've got a new reference point of major support. So someone asked about retracements in MT Live yesterday. And it's so simple. Like, well, here we've got a pivot and it made a new high. There's no pivot up here. But let's just assume for the moment that today was to stall and it ended like that. Well, a lot of this is just pure common sense when you think about it. But, so many that get into technical analysis and technical trading have been inundated with so much garbage that the common sense just seems to not be part of the normal thinking as it would be. But if prices started here, and let's assume that they ended here, if that was a completed bar and prices broke under that completed bar, and they were to retrace down here, well, that's not what it's supposed to do. And I don't need fib levels. I don't need any kind of squiggly lines, any of this to tell me that in a strong uptrend, if prices clear the prior high and they come all the way back down or close to the prior low, that's weakness. So you don't need any of this or any of these, indicators or drawing of anything. If you can just say, hey, if this is running a race and every time it moves up to the high, it has these shallow pullbacks and then continues higher, and this time it comes all the way back or close to down here, is something wrong? Yes. And then ultimately, if it breaks this, the trend is over. Anyway, the Dow seriously lagging, right? Well below the 200 MA here within this trading range. So just a lot of chop going on. You can just drag this up here. Here's our trading range in the Dow. Up at the top of the range, bullish price action. So far, it's just going sideways at the prior highs. It's supposed to break out. When you see this pattern of a wide range bar moving up to resistance, and after 2 or 3 days, after 3 days, it's getting a little long, and taking a little bit too much time, and things become questionable because when it comes up like this that fast, you have a couple of days. Typically on the 3rd day, it's going to break. If it doesn't do it on the 4th day, I think it's going to go down. But hey, we'll see what happens. Anyway, the price action right now is bullish at resistance, and it's supposed to break out. We'll see if that's going to happen. The Russell, as you know, has been lagging. This is well under the 200 as well. It had broken down through that swing low and came down to the next swing low, back up to the top of the range. Same pattern going on here. And can it clear these day's highs? If it does, it doesn't have too far to go before it's going to hit the next resistance area. So, until proven otherwise, we're just in a chop here. And what is the market waiting for? I don't know. Phase 1 open, phase 2 open, other places. And, people getting a little crazy about this lockdown thing, and politicians afraid of making a decision and the fingers being pointed at them that someone else passed away, wearing masks and whatever. Things have to get back to where they were. Oil, as we covered yesterday, at the top of the range, wide range bar, and things are stalled here. And maybe they're going to pull back here a little bit. So far, they're just chopping around. I just got to change this contract. It's getting thin here. Bonds, top of the range, bottom of the range, sideways forever here. And so you can see just been so consistent in this relatively narrow range of just going nowhere. And how long can this go on? This is a pretty lengthy range up and down like this for a long period of time. You can see how the moving averages are getting pretty tight. It's one of the ways that we use these, as we call them, the visual aids. And you can see the moving averages just intersecting through the middle of prices. Sometimes I call that a commission generator, frog in a blender kind of pattern where, it just chops you up back and forth as traders anticipate that it, oh, over here, it looks like it's going to break out. I better get long, or it's going to break down here and, back up and down. So, kind of strange, big topping tail, bottoming tail, tight ranges and so on. So we shall see. Gold down here a bit this morning, but still just sloppy trading range going on at this resistance area. And so again, I always try to provide a little lessons in these morning pre-market things. And when you see a pattern like this, one of the rules is just go to a higher time frame and see if it makes sense. Compress the data. And you can see here, this consolidation after a move up. So it just reinforces that there's really nothing to do here. Yeah, there's opportunities for intraday traders, but from a swing trading perspective, just clear that there's nothing going on here yet. But similarly, what we have is gold. And it's kind of interesting that gold is staying up at the top of the range, relatively bullish price action, topping tail that hasn't followed through yet. And we've got all these equities that are going sideways at the top of their ranges, where this, has a tendency to move in the opposite direction. Dan is saying ZB looks like an Iron Condor. We should see if there's any premium there, Dan. But, maybe at this point would have been a better time where it's become so obvious here that one side or the other might be a trap at this point. The moving averages are getting so tight. I don't know. Anyway. SPX. Same story, and, the anticipation of this breaking one way or the other after this gap and just nothingness happening here. It's got to happen pretty soon. I mean, this weekly chart, that says it should go up. Right? But we've got 3 days of going nowhere here. And I don't know because I don't know why today should be the day, other than, yesterday gapped above the high of the red bar. That's bullish. And then it went nowhere. As you could see right here, it just went nowhere. So sometimes, I've said this a lot. Sometimes prices go down because they don't go up and vice versa. And the meaning behind that is like that gap up was bullish. You've got that push up and this little shallow pullback. And that kind of a pattern says it should go higher. And the longer it takes to go higher, the more traders start to think, maybe this thing isn't going. I better unload this thing. I've been patient long enough. And that can begin to grow on itself. And then, a few traders say, let me move on. I'll re-enter if it breaks out. And a few more say that, and a few more. And then all of a sudden it's down to the low. And then others say, I better get out of this thing. And that's the psychology of trading as it begins to unfold. As to understanding price action through the psychology that's going on between traders' ears as they're patiently waiting for, whether their indicator said or something told them that this is going to go up. Or like us, we just say, hey, that gapped up into resistance. The red bar said it was going to go down and it didn't happen and it gapped up. That says it's going up. So after a little while and it doesn't go up, it's like, well, something's wrong here. Let me get out of part of this position. I'll put it back on if it actually breaks out, because when the majorities get loaded on one side and it doesn't happen, they all start hitting the bid together. And look at what's happening here, folks, right? Sentiment is up at an even more extreme level, and we've got another lower high in breadth. Yes, if it breaks out, this will poke higher and come up here. But right now, this is telling us that breadth is deteriorating. This is going up on fewer stocks, or the winners, they're not participating the way they were. But now the option traders are on one side of the boat. Could they be right for a day or two? Sure. But historically, we know that risk is increasing on the long side. So just keep that in mind. You know, most probably, the next failure pattern, breakout failure, or some kind of nasty gap down is going to follow through to the downside. And, you know, this gap up that we spoke about, and then the gap above the red bar, all of that will start to unwind as traders see something that shakes their confidence in that. So keep it in mind, right? And you know, we always like to look at the transports, and so money has been moving into the junk, right? And maybe that's the place to be, you know, the junk, as you know, money rotates into some of these beaten down things like airlines as things start to open up, and you know, people start to feel comfortable again. You know, restaurants are open. I don't know. Are the restaurants full? I don't know. I haven't been out yet myself. So we'll see as all of this happens and people start feeling good about things. You know, maybe the airlines are a place to put some money, and money goes into some of that junk. So anyway, Patrick Kaufman, standing contrary, New York Times article. SPX gap. Oh, on that news. Well, whatever the news is, Pat, that, yeah, I suppose that drug that's going to save everybody and so on. So we'll see. We're technical traders. We use intermarket analysis and market internals. And historically, this tells me, keep an eye on the exit door. Don't, the next failure just might be another big one. So all yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Yeah, that sentiment there, there's so many bullish patterns, and we have one bear call spread, everything else is bullish. But that's what's keeping me a little bit less aggressive, is that bearish sentiment.
Well,
hey, look at our,
when that gets like that, Dan, majority of patterns do look bullish.
right, that's a good point. Well, yeah. I would, well, not all the time. They could actually be climactic sell setups where, you know, the bulls have been correct.
Sure.
But these set up the traps more. Here, Gall here is a little airline. We scanned all the airlines yesterday. I had it here in a 5-minute, 15-minute chart. Wow, look at it popping right now. Slob here I had on my watch list. Let's go over opens though first. We only have 2 opens in the weekly options trader. We have a put spread for Friday, tomorrow. That's looking good. And we put on a Roku bear call credit spread yesterday. And gapping down here to support. Hopefully it takes out a 15-minute low, and then I'll tighten the stop. Swinging options letter, we got 100% bullish positions. CCL, we went dumpster diving. We have a bull call debit spread. IGT, dumpster diving. Oh, that gapped down on us today. We bought that at 820 yesterday on the breakout. So it's a good sign that it's negating. I have no idea what the gap down was for. Better not have been earnings. Because if it was, then that means we didn't go through our trading checklist properly. LUV, all right, good. LUV, like I said, we're we've been hunting in the junk, and we sold a put spread on this. I'm watching UAL, I'm watching Dow, I'm watching JetBlue. I kind of like JetBlue the best here. I like downside shakeout. I like the 20 MA starting to curl. If this gets over yesterday's high, we might add this to our junk list. MPC oil, bought that yesterday. We're up over $1 now. So that looks good. 6 junk, we added, that's in our junk. SPGI, we have a covered call. And then TDG, we're long stock as a 1, 2, 3. And if it's lagging, I get that. It needs something to get it moving. Let's go to gappers now and earnings. Facebook's been on a tear. I mean, I mentioned the other day, right here, that this right in here this morning, 2 days ago, that was a beautiful long. Amazon was right here also. Yeah, 2 days ago, I liked Amazon and Facebook. Were both beautiful day trade longs. Steve, your drop down. David, yeah, we've been trading ACB. Yeah, we had a beautiful 3-day covered call, or 2-day covered call, 3-day put spread. And I see that Greg posted a chart of that in Facebook. That was very nice, Greg. I don't know what to do with this now. It's gapping up to 17 bucks. That's a big gap. You got air below, you got air above. You need a compelling intraday setup, and we don't have one right now. It's up 5 bars pre-market on a 15-minute chart. So for us, absolutely nothing to do with it. ENPH gapping down 61 bucks from bearish engulfing at all-time highs. This is a bear call credit spread setup. This looks like a too low a volume gapping down, so I got no interest in you. One of you asked about this spot extended. Absolutely, it's extended. This thing went from 150 to 190 in 4 days. It's still bullish on the 15-minute chart. So if it were to go sideways and maybe take out a 30-minute high, that's fine if you want to do a day trade. But this is a pattern where we're looking for a bearish gap or an exhaustion gap up, and then we call that a gap and crap. See, some of you asked me about patterns that just gap up and pull in, saying, hey, it's a gap and crap. Well, we define it as an extended move and more like an exhaustion gap. So that's my answer on that. Day trade maybe, but no way on a swing. Let's see, Patrick on YouTube, are the credit spreads prices quoted in options weekly the ones you were filled, or the ones we should set our own limits for? No, we were filled there. Yeah, I only post what we get filled at. I was in that trade myself. I had 3 separate trades on ACB. C's didn't get filled yesterday, Steve. Let me look at it. And we had a beautiful 15-minute breakout right here, folks. This was our gap, our range expansion bar, and our breakout right here, right over this bar, over 962, is when we bought stock. We did put spreads. I also did a couple naked puts. C's I posted over the high, and it didn't trigger. Now it's gapping over our entry, which means we use our 5-minute high rule. VIX, I posted this saying if the markets break out, and the only hesitancy with that is what we just talked about with the high sentiment being at a bearish extreme. But if the markets go sideways or up, this VXX should continue to go down. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, I just saw this thing going by the ticker today. I have no idea what got SONM blasting off, but it looks like a penny stock news type of trade. So I got no interest. Debbie, your drop down. Saying this looks like a pump and dumper. Every time you're up, you just get smacked in the head, and that's the risk. Take a picture of that. That's the risk of not only trading penny stocks but new stocks. If that's your game, you better sell strength. Yesterday was a Bear Island reversal. Now it's gapping down $2. That's pain. This actually was a bullish setup until now, 655. Now, I don't know what this stock does. Maybe a Condor. We'll come back to it. TJX. Oh, gapping up. Yeah. 54. The gap's too big. All right, Jeffrey, gapping above resistance. Yeah, the problem is it's an excessive gap, but it's holding extremely well pre-market. These are range expansion bars. These are bullish 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. So we have an hour of bullish consolidation. So maybe I just don't like that much air below here for put spreads. But if you can get a put spread under the pre-market low with, we'll come back and look at it in 10 minutes. It's earnings and big gapping stocks. Don't even waste your time. Look in the first 5 minutes. The spreads are going to be ludicrous. Steve, 5-minute high. Yeah, you wait 5 minutes and you can buy it a penny over the high, provided it didn't move too much. Ahmad, it's not, this pre-market is not a gap and crap setup. It might have been if it were just straight up fluid, but this going sideways for an hour does not make an ideal gap and crap. Bravo Juliet 3060. It's worth watching. Maybe 30-minute high. Ahmad, you can watch it. RCL, I read in the journal. The journal said they had earnings yesterday. I don't remember that. But it said they lost $6.91 a share. Wow, they're accountants. Wow. But if this can get above the week's high, I don't know, we'll keep an eye on it. ENPH, we mentioned. Baidu, these Chinese stocks, the bill out there. Or was Baidu earnings? Yeah, Baidu had earnings. Or I don't know. Wow, AZN, $57 to all-time highs. Look at that. Wow, that's strong. Now this would also be a put spread candidate. Okay, Baidu did have earnings. But also let's keep an eye on some of those Chinese listing stocks. Were in the news yesterday about Congress passing a bill to delist them. And then I think I heard today that China is saying, well, heck with you. I'll think about moving my listing anyway. So we might get some activity in there. Look at this little slob bottom right from yesterday. Slob, that's another, beat up oil driller. Looks higher. KDP, gap in 2680, no pattern. Brian, ADP, possible put spread below red bar. Put spread, or do you mean call spread? If it trades under all of this, yeah, definitely. It looks like a directional. It's a bear 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. So yeah, let me put that on my list. Yeah, looks good. Williams, one of you mentioned this yesterday. It looks higher. USPH gapping up here. That's a put spread idea. TNK. McGraw, you asked me about this, about shorting this. Look at the weekly. The weekly is way oversold. Look to the left. So that's what I answered you. There's no good short there. TJX we looked at. Here's a bearish gap, but it's in a trading range. I don't see anything to do there. Put spread candidate under yesterday's low.
BA moving up here a little bit, coming out of this range.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Put spread and directional. Facebook continued strong. Incredible run. Apple here, it's a prior high, but the 15-minute is holding strong. I see Microsoft perking on the 15. 10-minute high. This is a put spread candidate for tomorrow. If we can get under this red bar, this is holding very well. Hurl, nothing. You're going. Dava, you're going. BRC. Maybe a Condor, McGraw. See, Condors, I like multiple reference points of resistance, multiple reference points of support in a fairly flat 20 and 50. So that's a Condor candidate. Look at Expedia up here. I didn't get to yet. That's selling off hard, giving up that gap. So that might turn out to be a call spread candidate. Bravo Juliet. Oh yeah, you make. Oh, that was earnings too.